there might be some things that you've learned along the way that you've always said, damn, you know, I wish I could just tell this to somebody before I go. You know, like, honestly, you know, like, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't like, that's my whole thing. Like, don't think it's going to be a dream, and you that's the smallest percentile of the people who are lucky enough to get it, like, you know, it just fall in their lap.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you know, and there might be some things that you might want to tell, you know, people your age, people older than you, people younger than you that you've seen. It's been my observation that you stuffy little fuckers are a little bit short with your patience. It might benefit y'all to relax and let us be less old wise folk.
We get some service here.
All right, are we ready? All right, you good? You got a drink? I got 2 drinks.
I'm good.
All right. Now that we talk, and then he's gonna. No, this is part of the screen. You know this.
I'm looking for something to throw.
Don't get grouchy, because this is a dark screen, and then the lettering comes on, so the world wants to hear the chatter before the show. Now he's gonna give me the fingers, the appropriate fingers.
Yeah.
Good evening, universe. This is Alex Soto once again for another episode of Articulate Barbarian, and tonight we have a very special guest, and I'm gonna fuck up all the credentials and I'm gonna mess it all up, but he's a dear friend of mine. I'm gonna call him Master Artist Alvarez Krietemeyer. Everyone calls him Alve. He is a legitimate, like, you know, like I always say, I was explaining to Alve before the show starts, like, there are people that are like me, which is basically a hack of life. Like, I can draw, kinda, I can do little this, but you can never say I'm an artist. Well, this dude actually went to University of Florida. We're gonna talk about that, but he is actually a degree carrying artist, and he brought a big ass wooden foot, but it's a beautiful foot.
What's the foot about?
What? Say it. Come on, voice. Say hello.
I said there's something afoot.
There's something afoot. So Alvarez Krietemeyer, Mr. Alve, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good evening.
I'm glad you put that little Cuban twist on my name.
Oh yeah. Well, you know.
That's why I never corrected you all these years.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
So.
Kind of like caller ID, you know, I know who's calling me.
Me being Mr. Politically Incorrect, immediately I'm going around. I used to work for a retail grocery store. I don't say the name for fear. I don't want to say, I have nothing negative to say. I just don't know what I'm allowed or not allowed to say, especially when I'm, you know, acting a fool. So, the long and the short of it is the first time I met him, I'm making my rounds, I'm introducing myself, and I hear this guy's accent, and I love Southern English. I had to do a little time, I was working in a factory years ago, and they sent me to Gastonia, North Carolina, and I was a very young, impressionable man. And I heard these women with their pretty Southern accents, and you know, women especially, men not so much, but women, you can tell, like I can tell a girl from North Carolina because I spent 6 weeks in there, so like you can almost hear the pitch in them. So I'm like, what the hell? And then I looked at his name, and your full name was on the thing, and it was Alvarez Krietemeyer. I said, who the hell is Alvarez Krietemeyer with that kind of accent? And he turned around thinking I was being disrespectful, and I said, now wait a minute now, let me introduce myself. And I said, I'm just Alex Soto, but I was raised with people with that Southern English, so I just appreciate your accent, sir. So where are you from? What are you about? Tell me about yourself.
Born and raised in Marion County. Lived here all my life. Nowhere else. And like you say, it took me quite a few years to go back and put my pride away and go back to the University of Florida and conquer a degree.
And when was it?
Well, I graduated in 92.
92, okay.
Yeah, class of 92. But I did spend 2 years in the College of Architecture before I changed my degree to sculpture. So.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because this piece that you have, the colorful one, I know that that's just a tiny thing because I asked you to bring something to show, but you actually do big pieces.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I wonder, I mean, I'm going to preface this by saying if I say anything that offends you as an artist, because I had this fashion designer on, and I was like, yeah, man, you're beautiful. Your art is beautiful. It looks like models that are being chased by rapists. And she looked at me, she's like, excuse me? I'm like, well, no, it's like she's running through a subway or something, and she's like getting dirty, but she's smoking hot. And I mean, like, she was like all offended. And it's not that. It's just I see architecture in your art. Right?
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely inspirational.
Architecture has a lot of influence on my art. Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but I also see an interesting thing where it could be one thing, it could be another, but it's definitely a foot. Like, you know, oh my God, this is so funny. Oh, I don't have my phone because it's so funny. My daughter's going to Flagler, right? Mm-hmm. And she just sent this email out. Shout out Autumn Soto. She just got her hair dyed pink and an extra tattoo. Got a number of love from her daughter, but she's got big things popping. But she sends me this thing. It's a huge project. She sent it, I guess, to all the people in her family. She says, okay, this is very important. You're going to take this picture that I just sent you, you're going to recreate it. And how you recreate it and all of it compiled from all the family members is going to determine what kind of artist I'm supposed to be. And I open up the picture and it's the most god-awful, ghastly looking. It literally looks like somebody, like, shit all over this fucking... It's like this melting person's face.
Yeah.
All dark colors, like a Tool video. And I text her, God, this is the ugliest thing in the world. How do I make this pretty? Why didn't you pick something pretty? But art is such a unique thing. But listen, whoever made that ugly ass image, that's probably some famous thing. I don't see architecture in it. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
So like I look at this and I see architecture, and usually because I was a hack artist, I got a chance to run around with some of the more elite artists in the community during that time frame, and you would only, like, usually unless you were like really in a, like, this is a really back weird long fucking way to make a compliment, but I don't normally see it where you can do all of it. The artists that I knew were like some of the greatest artists, I mean, in their medium in the world.
Single dimension.
Right. And there was only one guy, Jonathan Jaquette, shout out Jonathan Jaquette, and his brother, Emmanuel Jaquette, shout out man. Those two, one of them, okay, here's the perfect example. Jonathan Jaquette is probably one of the best, most creative fantasy, science fiction-y, Boris Vallejo-y kind of designer you'll ever see in your life. Mm-hmm. Makes great stuff, makes also funny cartoons, but everybody's, swole and everything looks...
Right.
The brother he took it in the 10th grade. I watched him take a wood chair, smash it, and from the pieces of wood whittled a skeleton in the fetal position, a baby infant skeleton. You know what I mean? The guy, I handed him a picture of a girl and I said, can you make this for my girlfriend for a prom date, a present? And he took the picture, and not only did he make it beautiful with charcoals and stuff, he then put her in a prom dress, sitting on the bed, you know what I mean? It's just beautiful stuff. The guy can do it all. The moral of the story is, what does he do now for a living? He is a museum curator. Doesn't seem like that spectacular considering this guy's probably, and this is all part of that whole thing, he could do it all, and yet he still holds down a full-time job. You have a full-time job, you have a career, we met. This is just coincidental that I appreciate the struggle of an artist. When you told me you're an artist, you told me you went to school, I'll be honest with you, my heart broke for you.
Thanks.
Because my daughter wants to be an English professor. I go, you want to learn how to read a book and then tell people how to read books? You want to teach that? I said, I told him, I said, the guy who was Pretty Woman, Richard Gere's character, and the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, they both had more or less the same job. I don't know what the fuck it was, but the one had a limo, the other one had a helicopter. Both of them were in the top upper echelon, but they chose. But here's the thing. Either one of them will do something tremendous because it's their focus, their passion, even if it takes them a lifetime, even if it's a part-time job, and then they have to depend on the whatever. Because my biggest concern with the marine biology is the grants drying up and all this shit, and they're getting ready to pump oil through the goddamn, which I don't have a problem with. I'm actually supportive of that. I don't care who I piss off.
So there's only one Jacques Cousteau, right?
Right. Well, the thing was,
he's gone.
Hey, listen, man, my daughter.
We need a replacement.
My daughter hates it when I talk about it. I'm like, I'm going, well, maybe she'll find a handsome Dr. Jacques Cousteau's grandson or something, and he'll be all perfect age, and you know. But
maybe,
or maybe she'll do a great job as a career, and she'll work it, you know, whatever. But so, how long have you been working? Because I saw your portfolio, probably almost 10 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I know there's more pieces since then, but you've been hustling this now for quite some time. And how long? When did you start putting your stuff out? What do you call this, anyways? What do you call your art? All types of shit. I can do it all. I can make a foot and an architectural.
I see myself as a Renaissance artist because I don't back down from any challenge. A lot of my work is commission work. So, I mean, these are pieces that are from my soul, but a lot of work I do is commission work. And, you know, the most enjoyment to me, I mean, besides creating the pieces and doing that by hand, is getting to know the client and figuring out how to complement them as a person, as an individual, as something unique in this universe, and taking my ideas and imposing them to reflect what the customer wants.
So if you had an extravagant customer that say he wanted like a roaring lion covered in like a disco ball mirror, could you do something like that? Or because you said you don't back down from a challenge.
Yeah, I could.
But I mean, there's actually that in your patois, in your palette. You have that in the back of your head. Yeah, I can make
I could make anything.
I believe that's an important part of your sales pitch, and that's why I want to bring light to it. Because
I think the example is a little cheesy, but you know, it was actually somebody really.
It was actually the one I was going to hire you to do.
Something you wanted me to do. Damn, when I blew it.
I'm thinking it's going. No, I already imagine it spins and it's got lights, so when it hits the mirror ball,
right,
and it'll be like in my front yard.
Yeah, there you go.
Of this castle.
What do they call those little things they sell that throw lights?
Exactly.
Well, so we can do something.
Yeah.
We can do something upscale, nice with that.
Listen, art is such. I mean, on even the smallest scale, because I don't even want to cheapen the art of comedy, but I am more of a Damon Dash of comedy, which means there was this guy named Jay-Z. And he had a guy that was his right-hand man named Damon Dash. Both of them were equally, well, somebody's going to debate that probably on YouTube, but they were both right with each other at the whole beginning of Jay-Z's career.
Right.
Damon Dash never made a note, but he was the business end of it. So every time I went into everything, I looked at it within a few months. I was like, all right, I'm going to get a room. I'm going to chart, I'm going to get, and we're going to do it. And then it all ended up, because my biggest passion, my first love is podcasting. So, but the idea of putting like you said, you put your soul in it. You know what I mean? And art is so objective, and it's such a lonely walk. Especially when, and I mean, I'm only looking at it again from my imagination and from my perspective.
It's really not. We create all our relationships.
Well, I know,
it's not lonely.
But when you're back,
it's almost insanity.
When you're back there in your medieval dungeon, because man, I'm picturing sparks and fire and heat. Because I'm not when you're doing the big metal projects and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, hours and hours and however many hours. Remember that one you showed me, which I don't think was metal. I think it was wood with the arm and the cube. Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of time you had in that.
Oh yeah, well over 100
Right.
hours.
There wasn't family and friends supporting you when you were out there.
No, nobody came out with lemonade.
That's the part I mean about that long, lonely road. You know what I mean? I jokingly but seriously talk about the ladies fight over me, and you can tell since I've retired, I've lost so much weight. And I look so good.
Looking good, man.
Shit. Man, look, you know what I did? I had to buy a bigger vest. It was smaller. But anyways, I want to, what it's like because I'm editing everything. and I watch myself grow in minutes what takes months. So it started in August, and it's like,
What the hell happened?
I'm at the point where I'm wearing shit untucked. I said, God, I gotta get my shit together. So I'm back in the gym and I'm vlogging it and daily to keep me accountable. But the point is, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the waitresses fight over me because they know I'm a good tipper. But once I get there, I put my headphones in. People are like, oh, what's your secrets? What do you do? I put my headphones in and I turn on rain. I've got 24 hours of rain and thunder. And then I will get in there and I start to write. And I mean, I've got thousands of pages that I've written just since January a year ago. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas and premises and the amount of time. And then you get up there and you eat a shit sandwich. But you do it on purpose because you have to refine. Like, you'll take the way I do my comedies, I take the entire premise, write it all the way out to be this big thing, memorize it, go out there on stage, and I perform it best I can off memory, and I record it, and then I listen for the laughs the next time I get in the car after it's done, and I listen. Out of all that shit, there might be 2 or 4 lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got to work on that, man, dude. I didn't expect to be doing a show for 1,000 seats. I wasn't expecting all that shit to happen. I had to come up with an hour of material, and I didn't even have 20 minutes. So I mean, it's like fuck. So I mean, it happened really, really quick. And so what are you about now? So the projects that you're working in now, you take it by commission. What is the area? I mean, obviously, you'll build something for anybody anywhere in the world. But
sure.
You're more or less, you're based out of Ocala, Florida, which is south of Gainesville, and pretty much I would assume your easiest target is the Southeast. United States, not just fucking Florida.
U.S.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I still have a sale pending for a client in South Africa.
Nice. So the thing is when this video comes out and when you have this information and as we move it forward, you can actually target, like when you will take this video and I'll chop it up for you and give you, what I normally do is I'll give you a 5-minute and then a 10-minute and then the whole show. That way the 5-minute is clickbait for my site, the 10-minute is like a teaser, like for somebody who, it's not everybody just gonna come in off the streets and start swallowing hour and a half long programs. So you got to kind of teach these little young bastards how to sit still for any length of time.
Stay on the same screen.
Listen, man, it's unbelievable. I have guests that are younger, and they are brilliant. I mean, brilliant. They got a great story, but they just don't have enough experience in life to really be able to just express themselves. So, let me ask you this real quick. So, if you do anything for everybody, what's been the most unique project you've ever worked on? So they really can understand. Like, what's the biggest or what's the most,
Well, it wasn't this moquette here will be the biggest.
Oh, that's a
model.
A 1 1/8 model. Okay, See, I thought that was like, I've seen some big shit you've done on pictures, and I'm like, oh wow, he's made them smaller and he sells them for what? They're like a knick-knack on the shelf. But that's actually just a model.
Yeah, that's just a piece that I work with, working through ideas and such. But that came about. That actually ended up being 30 feet tall.
Is this to be announced, or is there already somebody looking to?
I haven't had any claims on it. I did this recently after my brother-in-law passed away, and this is my homage to him.
I tell you what, not for nothing, but there's a few pieces already where I'm thinking that, and they're building a humongous other side, even if they don't order that one specific, but Orlando International Airport is doing they're building a 3rd terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a massive undertaking.
Right.
But I mean, I'm sure, with the being
well, that's where I'm headed.
It's beautiful. I'm just so impressed by it. Like I said, I've always appreciated. Like I said, I've had fashion designers up here, And I told him straight up, I don't understand why you're so fucking successful and so popular. The reason why I had you here is because I have to ask you why. Because I look on his Facebook and he posts something, shout out EBWB, Everything Better with Bentley, Antoine Witter. Not that your shit's not dope, Antoine. Like I asked you, I just told you I didn't understand. I'm old. But the thing is he would post something and they'd be like, all these people saying, I need one, I need two, I need this, let me get one in black. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is just getting it out to the people. This guy is successful on a really small scale. He does everything, literally, he'll deliver it to your house.
Right.
And I've seen some of his shit in Orlando. People wearing his stuff. And he's right here. And when I interviewed him, he kept talking about, well, you know, I decided to move to the city, and when I came to the city, and I went to the city, and I go, well, what city did you go to? Because I was assuming like he came here after that, and he was like, Ocala. And I'm like, what the fuck city did you, what town did you come from that this was the city? You know? But the thing about it is his style, his story is amazing. His style is actually clean. It's nice. And I don't get young people, so I can't even begin to understand. But you know, I mean,
it's challenging.
But the thing about it though is, this young man came. He had a beautiful display set up. He was he had good answers for everything. Very emotional guy, beautiful story. But it was just amazing. Again, I was down in South Florida. And I'm at this, I wasn't even supposed to be there. It was like, hey, tonight we're having this where they, like little wine and cheese tastings in front of this little squarey looking area down in South Florida. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to be here. Might as well pop over. And I'm listening, walking around, and, you know, cool. And then all of a sudden, like, in the distance, I hear this sound. And she had like a Tracy Chapman-like voice. And I followed the sound, man. It took me a block away, down around the corner. And there was this one bar that wasn't in part of their little circle. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, maybe we can get somebody if we have a little display in front of our little bar. And I'll be damned, man. I went and bought some stuff there and stuff because, listen, this lady, again, like I said, so talented. So talented.
Right.
There's a lady that performed Saturday night. Shout out to Backyard Barn Winery. The lady plays and she does this thing where she does a little beatbox spitting thing in the microphone, and she does something and it makes the sound keep going. And then she takes like an old school BB King slide guitar, and she again has a strong voice.
Right.
And I go, wow, you have a beautiful voice. Where else do you perform? I'd love to see you. She goes, no, these people are friends of mine. I'm a mother of three. I ain't performing nowhere. They just like it because I do it at Christmas parties. Bitch, is like the most talented thing I've heard in years.
True.
So the thing is it's such a passion, and it's a love, and it's a grind, and I know the sacrifice, and like I said, the walk alone. So I appreciate your work. So you have this big project here. What's a unique thing? Like that hand, for instance. That hand was a really, like he had one, and when this releases, you'll have everything clicked and sticked and ready to go. But you had one that was an arm that went through a cube. Now that was a wood medium, right?
Yeah.
So you do
last 3 to 5 years I've focused on wood carvings.
And what does this start with? Was this just a gnarled up old piece of wood?
Old log I found, was rotted out there in the bend, and that's what I saw.
Bricks and Mortar asked you a great. Bricks and Mortar is the producer.
It started out as, obviously the obvious thing was Achilles' heel, but as I worked on it, because that's the weakest point.
Right.
But as I worked on it, I mean, it took on more of a universal, at least to we Americans anyway, it stands more as moral ground for me, and the erosion of the moral ground. So
you want to hear something funny? Before you said what it is, and that's a fucking much better answer. I thought it was like, Americans always put a foot in it. That's what I thought you meant. I swear to God, that's what I thought you meant.
No.
But no, I dig it.
It's got a little deeper meaning than that.
Well, no, actually, it's not so much a deeper meaning, but it's a better meaning because it's more one that I go with. Because another thing that I like, Alve, is I'm more of a middle of the road conservative. I will not say I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I've always felt like I'm an independent on everything. Remember now, most folks say that Wall Street fell, we were so broke that we don't tell. I don't give a flat flying fuck very much about what's going on. I'm sorry, social justice warriors. I made it this far without knowing much. If the scales that cover our eyes, they don't all the time need to come off. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the thing about it though is it's nice to hear from an artist, because your community has not always been very supportive of conservative values. You seem like a fairly conservative. How the hell did you manage that? How did you manage that? Is it because they don't let you have a goatee and a ponytail in your career? I mean,
Yeah.
is that really what you would prefer? That I totally see.
Not necessarily a goatee, but just unshaven, scruff.
It's a great feeling.
Not anything real groomed, nice like you. Just,
Well, this is my
just kinda
retirement
rough.
beard. This is my retirement beard.
yeah, Southern roughness,
Yeah, I'm going more for like, creepy uncle. It feels like. I would
creepy
never.
uncle.
Granddad. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy up. I was actually like Latin Kenny Rogers, lady. So there's a guy up in Ocala who does. He's like a boutique barber. He's a
Right.
friend of mine, and he was gonna come on the show. And I went up and got my hair did, and I had a 20. I only had a 20 in my pocket. I didn't think it was gonna be more. Back in the day, it was 15. Back in the day,
It would be more than 20.
well, the thing is like I had a beard back in the day, and I used to get it done. I would give them. It was like 15. Had a couple bucks on the tip. It was like $12. But this was, before that retail grocery store. So that was a decade-ish ago. So now all of a sudden he's like, and he points, and I look up, and I haven't seen this guy since. Over 12 years. He said that the whole shebang is 35 plus tip. And I said, what the hell happened in the last 10 years? Did you become a rock star? Did you shave somebody famous? What the hell just happened here? $35? So he told me, because I'm old from the old days and a friendly whatever, that I could get it done
He's gonna let you
for
slide,
20.
huh?
For 20.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Senior citizen discount.
But here's the problem. I always get it for 10, and that includes the tip. And that dude has like a Leonidas clean beard. He knows how to do all that. So it's like, God, man, no offense, Tony. But it's funny because he's an artist,
Sure.
He's an artist. He really is. I mean, beautiful what he can do with a man's head. But I'm not.
You're not into it?
I'm too old for it, man. I don't give a fuck about how my hair looks. I wear a hat most of the time. It pisses people off. I got such a pretty head of hair. They're like, you can't believe you wear a hat all the time.
Exactly,
I'm like, look, man.
yeah.
But the retirement
you should
beard.
give me the hat.
Yeah. I respect the retirement beard, though. I understand. And now I'm on a crossroads, because I'm actually thinking about letting it grow a little bit and do a square it up and make it look like a Leonidas. So we'll see what happens. But so if somebody wants to hire you, we're gonna have the social media and everything set up. Now, how does that break down? Because there might be somebody who goes, damn, he can do anything, and that really does look like a foot, and I like the reasoning behind his art. Let me hire him.
Turn that thing. Just turn it right around, so everybody can get a picture of it all the way around, because it's amazing, really.
It's beautiful.
The way it's balanced.
Hey, notes
Then we
itself.
get
Would
around
that be
the-
cool if we had some kind of a turntable for artist stuff?
Yeah, someday.
Yeah, I should have brought one
Oh, you got one?
somewhere.
Well, if we had one, my man here will take a microwave oven and turn it into a fully functional turntable, because that's his thing.
Well, and then we can cook.
It's
all those at the
absolutely
same time.
gorgeous.
I love that. I really like that.
And it's a right foot.
Yes, it is.
God damn, that's how good an artist he is. You can actually tell. My shit would look like a hoof. It barely would look like nothing. So, Bricks and Mortar said something before the show began, and actually, kudos, sir, because it was a great question. He said, when you saw the piece of wood, hold on, ask the question the way you asked it, because I don't want to fuck it up.
Okay, I asked him, did you see the log and see the foot, or did you envision the foot and look for the log?
I saw the log and I saw the
And you
footage.
immediately seen the foot.
Yeah.
See that when I do things, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Other people, I build stuff and I won't write anything down. I watch other people have to scribble everything out and then go for it.
Oh yeah.
But I
My
see
sketchbook is
things.
really bare.
Yeah, I see
all
things
here.
without. Yeah, it's like it just. You see something, it's like a picture in there, and you just got to find it.
So you see,
I mean, I could be driving down the road and I just have to pull off the road and write, just jot notes.
I do the same thing.
Not anything concrete, just notes
Right.
to refresh my.
I do stuff. I've got a premise I've been working on. It's if my dick had an elbow, I'd have a third arm. I'm working on this premise. It came to me on I-4.
There you go.
I pulled over as if my car broke down, turned the hazards on, typed it in real quick, hit the road. But that's my art. That joke is my foot. You know what I mean?
There you
And then
go.
the only way I can get is if I got a bang on it. And the thing is like, it's interesting because of what you guys just said, because my foot, I don't know what it's going to be. It starts out, sometimes, I mean, I know where my story
Well,
is.
yeah, that happened with this piece, but you know, a lot of pieces, the hand and the fist with the cube
That bitch was
that
bad.
you referred to.
That bitch is
That
bad.
started out totally different.
Yeah.
It was intended to be something totally different, and it ended up the way it was.
Yeah.
And I loved it better than the original idea.
Have you seen, are you familiar with,
So it dictated to me what
Right.
it was going to be.
that's badass.
You know,
I should have.
even though I was trying to force my thoughts on it.
I'll be damned. That's deep, man. It reminds me of see, I'm a fantasy fiction dork. Everybody's like, you know, I love sci-fi.
As long as it has to do with elves.
Right.
And they have to be horny ones.
That's one story. But no, but I like
I can believe that.
I like swords and horses, bows and arrows. I don't get into future shit. Like if Star Wars makes a movie, I will appreciate their vision. But if I'm supposed to figure out what that looks like based on the words in the book, shit annoys me because I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at in here. That's my art. That's the way my head works. So I can imagine what a castle looks like and horses. But the thing is I one time, there was this book that was like 30,000 pages long. It was a series of books. And one book was like 800 pages. And the whole book, the majority of the core of the story of this entire 800-page book was him taking this slab of marble that had a known defect, but it was the biggest, most beautiful slab of marble that this particular sculptor had, and he says one day it was like a communistic type of regime, so they didn't know he had the marble. It was hidden. And then the guy ends up getting it from him, and in 800 pages. It's the war between, like, he approached it like a battle. Anyway, so the whole thing is it took up 1/20th of a 20,000 page book. Was an 800-page book, and it was one of my favorite books out of the entire series because it was that competition between man and art.
Right.
What's in your head, and you know, this guy's a nut. You know, he's a genius. Believe it or not, I have a gift. My mutant power is I can sniff out a genius like a blip in the universe. My dad, blip in the universe. But one common thread, whenever anyone says, "Oh, this guy was on some other level, he was a genius," that means he was probably a pain in the ass and he was crazy. All right, in real life, do you get woke up at night by your art? Does your art drive you to stay awake at night? I'm sure it does, because
To a degree, yeah.
you've learned. Well, also your life gets in the way. So
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Yeah,
big
but
part of it.
when you got a couple days in a row, and I've done this, I start in the morning doing things, making my bird or and next thing I know, it's 3:00 the following morning,
right.
Yeah.
and I've realized I haven't eaten all day long. I haven't seen anybody.
True.
When I'm doing design work, especially once upon a time I used to be in a box truck that didn't have any windows, but I'll hem up inside of the design room and start designing something. And I used to joke because 104.1 talk radio, back before they had radio without commercials, you know, back in the old days, you know, Howard Stern would come on at 6 in the morning, and then Drew Garabo would end at 11 o'clock at night. And I remember numerous times listening from beginning to end, and the only time I would move is, and a lot of times I didn't even move to piss. Because you're just so tunneled out, everything just, and then you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I gotta piss. Let me get up and do something, stretch my legs. But you've been at it for 14 hours, you know? So like, I understand the drive and that gnawing, and I mean, God, it blows my mind to see the stuff that you've done. And I want to get into I mean, like, I don't know if it's a trade secret, but how does something like this even begin? Do you chisel it down? Do you hack on it with a chainsaw?
It depends on the piece. That piece, it was pretty much all hand chisel.
That's amazing. Absolutely beautiful.
The hand and fist, there was some chainsaw, just rough shaping with the chainsaw. But
have you ever been down?
And then everything else was hand chisel.
Gorgeous, man. Absolutely beautiful.
I've tried all kinds of mechanical means, but there's
a lot of times what you can do with your hands is much better. Yeah, you can
I can do it with a good sharp chisel just as fast as I can.
Orlando, have you ever been to Artigon?
No, I've checked it out. And
they closed it.
Did they?
Yeah, that was I was blown away by that place because the whole idea.
Tell me about
it. But now what happened was, big ass developer bought them out.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody had to literally like a sinking ship. But the thing about it is on a small scale, it might have been a small victory for them because I'm sure they all got paid decent money because I'm sure there's legalities to that.
Sure.
But his initial idea was to middle finger the world and say we can have a place for art to be vital. And the fucking guy gets corporate on us. Golly. But man, it was such a cool, I mean, you know, and the thing is like there's that place, you ever been to that place out in Barberville? It's that intersection where all those sculptures are. Now I'm sure some of that stuff is way beneath you, but there is some stuff in the back that's got some pretty hefty price tags.
It could be beneath me, but you know, there's
no. Some of that
there's
shit.
Beauty in all.
Yeah, no, I want one of those big ass 12-foot metal eagles that is soaring on the earth. Yeah, I want. What is his name? The dude with the Atlas,
the dragon in Game of Thrones.
Right. And the Atlas shrugs. He's got like a 20-foot Atlas shrugs with the Atlas with the world on his shoulders. Yeah. Put that on the roof of the castle. But in all seriousness, I mean, it's just amazing.
I did quite a few things. And before I ever watched Game of Thrones, this was several years ago, and I was doing a show, and like every 8th or 9th person had come up, oh man, that looks like Game of Thrones stuff, you know, this because a lot of stuff I do, I burn and scrape down and really expose the texture.
Give it that little gutter.
And, you know, I'm like, what the hell is this Game of Thrones thing, you know? So I finally had to stop and watch it. But
some good shit.
Yeah.
So, with the projects that you're working on right now, what is, like, I mean, do you, again, you can do everything. Have you seen, or are you working with, can you do lighting? Can you light that? You backlight it, all that stuff? I mean, there's just so many things. God, I see that in front of any mall.
With that, just the light from the way it is, it gives you all your textures, especially on the back, where it looks like the muscle comes in and it looks cool.
Yeah, super dope. That's a gastrocnemius muscle, Mr. Carpenter, otherwise known as the calf.
All I know is that's the one that hurts when I walk too far.
Man, I mean, God, give me a foot ankle doctor phone number, stat. We want to send this shit right to him. Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, that piece is only a year old.
I mean, a foot ankle doctor walk right in and be like, I don't know, 20 grand. I don't know. I don't know what it costs, but the thing is that would sell like right. I mean,
well, for the show, you know, 20 grand sounds good.
That's good. That's good price. You'll let it go.
We might could get a discount with that.
In the right place, you'd get that.
Couldn't you see that at a foot ankle doctor though? Like in the villages, like we walk into the lobby. You know what I'm saying? A specialist that works on foot and ankle, and they have that thing, and like I even see it. I love shit spinning, so I'd have it spinning slowly on some
Yeah, I
marble,
would have to in order to get the full.
or like have it on the marble. Anyways, here I am selling your shit for you. That's what it's supposed to be for.
Because any side of it is too good to always have facing the wall.
Yeah, so spinning would be good.
Yeah, you gotta be able to get all the way around.
See, we're gonna hustle this for you.
I mean, if that was sitting in the middle of the room.
You know, a little
I'd
wet
be
of the beak, a
staring
little
at it.
kamish, you know, a little
In
kamish.
the middle of the room, I'd be staring at it forever, looking at all the
Little
things.
kamish, you know, if I get a little kamish, you know, we'll sell it for you. No, I'm just playing. But seriously, I mean, here's the thing. When I first met Anzia, shout out Anzia, she doesn't want me to, it's so funny with these crazy young girls and boys, and this girl's brilliant, and she's a star, and I'll do whatever the fuck she wants, because she made me kind of, like, helped me very much with my career. But, and I jokingly tell her, I said, when you walk in a room, the room bevels around you. And I'm not even, like, intimately attracted to her or anything. I told her very honestly, you're too important to me for that dumb shit.
Right.
Oh, yeah, see ya?
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Beautiful, gorgeous. She's a model. But I said, no, fuck all that. Everybody knows you're beautiful, but man, I like what's in here. I don't want nothing to mess up. So I tell her, I said, from this point forward, you're my pretend cousin. You're my little play cousin. So I'm with you and you're with me. So the thing is I love it because, you know, a lot of the people that she meets, the artists that I send her, you know, she's doing like, you know, artists like in music, hip hop, the culture of fashion, and then I throw her like Sarah Geiler, who is a legitimate genius scientist who's also a dirty comic, and then you, which frankly, this brilliant artist, but you're not what in my mind, like I would think her usual, like I love shocking the shit out of her is my point.
Right.
I love being like, all right, I want you, look at this and this.
Throw her off her game. Yeah.
Right, because I want her to I want her to see my value. Because it's not every day I can show, like it's not every day. She'll meet 100 people like her who do creative things, but she won't never meet another Alve, because I've been around artists my whole life, and I was, as soon as I saw you, I was like, what the hell is this redneck voice coming out of that name? He's like,
Didn't fit, did it?
oh, it fits beautiful now. I mean, that's a great name as an artist.
It's definitely unique.
It's great.
So when I went to do the website,
Yeah.
I wanted Alve.com, obviously, but that's already taken by some fashion designer in Italy or somewhere.
Right, I'm sure he'll let it loose.
I'm sure he will too.
So have
Once
you?
I sell this foot for $20,000,
Right, right.
he'll let it go.
So you can do anything. It can be brought. You're badass at everything. It looks like you can do wood, you can do metal, you can do fire, you can do polish, you can do sculpture. Do you do painting and?
I do some two-dimensional work, and that's mostly charcoal drawing.
Right.
I have two paintings that I've done in my lifetime. One when I was probably 12 or 13, and then one I was probably 28.
And those are.
But I don't paint. My sister painted.
I imagine
She
you.
did it a lot better than I do, and I just get frustrated because, you know, I push it too far, and then things get muddled, and
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's a pain in the ass. I don't. And it's like.
But I've done two that I really like.
Okay.
Two paintings. But I do a lot of my art several years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I was big into collages, and I have a ton of collages. And I just sit there. My wife teaches kindergarten, and I get all of this collection of old Life and National Geographic magazines, and I just cut out pictures and then just start melding them together. And it was a quick process, quick to me, to develop ideas and interrelationships, and then I could take that into my sculpture.
I have a young lady, she's an artist out of Tampa. Shout out Kimberly Money. I always like talking about her because I find she's remarkable. She's a burlesque dancer, and she also does tremendously beautiful artistic things in a very strange way. So what she does is she'll take somebody's, like she'll go to knick-knack stores, or she'll find pieces in antique stores, and then it would be like a woman's face, like in a thing, and then she sands it, and then she puts that skeleton look to it, that Day of the Dead stuff that I don't know much about,
Right.
but the amount of intricate detail she puts every single bone in and anatomically correct, and it's got tremendous amounts of detail to it. It's a strange medium to me. I was impressed by it. I bought some work from her, and she'll be on the show too, but it's just like I said, it's that unique thing that that she does that I can only imagine. It's just the whole intricacies of being an artist, and especially of a scale this size, where you can deal in something like I can picture that in the front of the new Orlando International Airport. I really can. I don't know, maybe put an airplane on the end of it or something, but
make everybody be able to read it.
So we all know now, and this is the portion of the show where we're going to start switching to the and, because I want to talk about. I get a lot of impression, and I get a lot, I have to deal with young people a lot. So I want to beat up on some millennials for a little bit here in a second. So we know that you can work in almost any medium. You work in three-dimensional. You said it was, what did you call it again? The kind of, you said three-dimensional art or sculpture?
Wood carving?
No, the whole shebang, your whole...
Oh, it's sculpture.
Sculpture.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get you forwarded to the right people. Once this goes up, everybody will be linked up so that they can click on you to go to them, vice versa, and then you can forward this stuff, like I said. Right. And we can see you're super dope. So it's obvious you're gonna, and I hope this works for you. So far, we've been having a lot of luck. People have been making a shitload of money off of my show, and I ain't made shit. We had a commercial drone specialist got picked up. Yeah, he got picked up. I was at my room, which is free, and we were at the room, and he's like, man, do you have any idea how much work I've gotten from this? Yeah, motherfucker, I know how much work you've gotten off of it. So he's on his way. He has to get his passport. They're sending his ass to South America to do drone filming on real estate.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, Travis McCartney. I'll know I go get my shit free. All the drone filming I want for the rest of my life.
I have a question for you. I've made certain things that I wouldn't sell to anybody because I know I can never make them again.
I can't.
I mean, like this. I mean, if I did that, there's no way. And I know money talks, but I would have a very hard time letting go, because it's a creation.
Pieces like that?
A piece like this one right there is like a child,
right?
And I don't know how you would sell it.
What a soppy guy.
Well, no.
If somebody give me $20,000 for this foot right now.
No.
I'm just kidding. That's just color commentary for the show.
Anything in your life, there's always certain things in your life that no price tag could take it away from you. I mean, other than this, have you created things that you just maybe, but you can't?
No, I'm at a point in my life where, I don't have a problem with that. I've had a very intimate relationship with every piece that I've done.
Yeah, well, you do.
I'm like De Niro, bitch. If I can't get out in 5 minutes, bro, I'm gone.
But my house is so big, my studio is so big. I can't keep it all forever. I can't hoard it.
But something like that, you'd have to hang on to it for a while before.
Well, I finished that piece and it went on the market within 45 days.
Okay, as soon as you had to dust it.
Have you?
And it was time to. Oh, okay. Well,
On the other hand, yes, I have a nude carving that I did in college. So we'll put a date on it. It's 92, and for the past 22 years, I wouldn't have even considered selling it.
That's
but I decided it was time to share. I mean, my children grew up with it. They all make their cracks about it. I mean, it's female nude. They all make their
I'd
cracks
much rather
about
you want to keep the female nude than the male. I'm just saying.
The male nude got destroyed. But I did reach a point where I could let it go. Let someone else, I guess. So you sold her as a person.
You sold her?
No, I hadn't sold it.
Oh, but you finna sell the bitch.
She's been on the market. She's been on the market.
This is for 100%.
Okay, you've reached that point, but is it going to take the right person? Not just anybody, because Joe Blow could come and buy it
Go
and
ahead,
throw
tell
it in
the
his
truth.
fireplace.
No,
okay? No, if you had your choice of 10 people that had what you wanted, that you asked for it, would it be picking the right person that would do it justice?
You know, if I had 10 people that came to me and wanted it, yeah, I might be a little selective.
I'll be like
Okay.
$1
If I had
over the
one-
highest bidding.
If I had one,
Well, no, you spend so much
No.
time, creating this.
Listen,
and like you said, you get very intimate with what you're creating. It's sometimes very hard just to go, well, here, take it.
Listen, I am color commentary. You are actually making way more sense with your questioning and from another artist.
Well,
perspective.
I know
Me,
where
I'm
he's
trying to
coming
sell
from.
all this shit. You want to sell the little trinket too? I'll sell that motherfucker too. Because again, I'm the Damon Dash.
there you go.
Listen,
Yeah.
my dad, you can appreciate it. My father one time he went fishing on Lake Weir, and in 3 casts, he caught an 11, a 12, and a 13-pound bass in my lifetime. My daughter was so little that the biggest, the 13-pounder was as tall as she was.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, we got to take that thing to the taxidermist. He looked at me and said, are you crazy? Filleted the shit out of all 3 of them. So the point is, sometimes you just gotta let it go.
We got to eat.
You just gotta let it go. So damn, all right.
We're going to eat good.
So I'm going to give you some observations, some things that I saw before I left my gig at corporate America. The directions and the direction I believe the company was going, and it's not a bad direction, it's just a different direction. And I felt like this is in no way going to condemn the company at all. I'm asking you, because I felt like after all the dust settled, when the youth came in, they started getting the faster with the computers and faster with the mouse wiggling. And beyond the company, the social justice warriors, the words like outrage, or, people who always have some kind of an opinion when they're, in my opinion, lacking wisdom to support that opinion. I want to say that right now, with all the trouble that's going on with, Kevin Spacey and my man's, Louis C.K., which I'm not even a fan of his comedy. I don't give a damn. But
Right.
all this stuff that's going on, I feel like everything is kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Like, this is the worst part. Like, it's like, it was one way, so now we're going to go extreme the other way and get as PC as fuck. But then what I'm seeing and hoping is because now we're starting to see this influx where people are actually setting their foot down and saying, yes, it was wrong of what they did, but no, you are not going to dictate our success or failure because of your voice with nothing to back it, like they can hide behind social media. That being said, though, my observation is I do believe things are better. I think things are better in the sense that it wasn't right if these things indeed happened to people against their will. But there's going to be a lot of stuff in between where people kind of fall into some cracks, I think. Because I'm out front with it right now. I have been naked in public. I have been inappropriate. I ain't fucking... I'm not here to confess like I'm a sinner. I'm here to say I've known people my whole life, if they start drinking, they just would take their clothes off. They weren't gay. They weren't rapists. They were just funky ass redneck buddies of mine that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even need to drink.
See? But we're all under the understanding that you are a total freak, Mr. Bricks and Mortar. So the thing is in all honesty, it's like, man, we're going a little overboard. I think everything's getting a little crazy. But I don't know, and I'm not saying, let me backtrack for a second. This is not me saying let's fuck with the company. I'm saying that I saw it where the youth, remember when we lost our ties?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people, probably your hippie ass, probably like, damn right, stupid tie. But I was like of that whole old school generation where it was like you dressed up to be fancy when you wore a tie.
I'm sorry, yeah. If I want to wear a tie, I wear a tie. I wear the right tie. I wear a quality tie. This shirt, $140 shirt.
Nice.
I don't wear trash.
It's a super nice shirt too. I picked that shirt the second you walked up. I'm not gonna get all girly and be like, oh my god, it's a nice shirt.
It's
But the thing is
my choice.
Yeah,
That's what I feel good in.
right. But but also, man, I've watched you when you were wearing the shirt when you couldn't afford it or was harder to afford it. You put in your dues. You got to where you got, and nothing to do with the company, but in my opinion, had it been, I think, 15 years ago, you'd have been promoted. I would have been promoted. It'd have been a different day. We'd have been promoted quicker.
Sure.
Because wisdom. That's what I think is. I think that if there's a bridge that I can gap for these young people, they grew up in a generation where my parents were like, if it's like cut to the bone, I still didn't go to the hospital. Like if it was broken, like if they can't fix it in the house.
Right.
I mean, where Nana went from whatever latchkey kids to helicopter parenting to where now the parent asks the child if it's an acceptable thickness for the meat and the cheese when I would sell it to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I never forget when they were like, let me ask the boss. And she turns around and I'm looking behind the cart, like looking for the father, the husband. And she goes, is this okay? And I look and there's this fat little girl, 11 years old or so, sitting crisscross applesauce in the cart, playing with her mom's phone. All I saw was those little fat sausage fingers. And I'm like, is she really asking permission if this is acceptable to a child? But this is the generation now these kids have grown up. Now that kid's 19 years old. And her and all her little people that think they know anything, are you familiar with being that you were in college? Are you familiar with the Kent State?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it horrible that it happened? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did it get taken way too fucking far? Absolutely. Those were children.
Yeah.
But at the other side of the coin, and this is just from my perspective as a father, I was questioning what were all them damn kids, their rebellion, their what is it called? They were rebelling against the war. They were picketing,
right.
And there's a horrible stories on both sides of the thing. But I often ask my daughter. I go, daughter, I said, do you see anything wrong that maybe that the kids did wrong? And I don't know what your perspective is on that because you're a young artist. At the time, you were only a little bit younger than that, right? This happened 10, 20 years before you. But the point is, as an artist, you probably, I don't know what your emotions are on that respect. But at the same time, I also know that I've gone through Gainesville and I've seen young people with a giant sign at the intersection saying F Trump and not F. And I'm not thrilled. I'm not particularly thrilled with the way the state of affairs of politics is, but I do wonder if that 19-year-old puts it into perspective that if they were in any other part of the world, that wouldn't be acceptable. And
right.
My joke, the joke that I have in my material is no matter what, if you break your leg in the woods, a bear will eat you asshole first, and he keeps you alive to keep the meat fresh. So it doesn't matter. I wonder if problems don't get escalated from both sides. You know what I mean? And I often hope and pray.
They do.
You know what I mean? I hope and pray that my daughters at least can use some judgment. Maybe it wouldn't be the best thing, but I don't know. I just wonder sometimes,
Well, yeah.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you see a deficit with the young people as far as grinding, the work ethic?
I do.
I mean, what do you think? And here's the deal.
Drive. I mean, this is something from my heart. I have to wake up in the morning and I have to do this. Whether I have to go to my day job or do this, whatever. This is always on my mind. This is always being processed. I don't see that in the younger generation.
Right.
Especially the 28 to 32 range, Now I do have some younger people, early 20s, that seem to have it going on. Like they know where they're going, they know what they want to do. But there seems to be a little lost generation right there. Mm-hmm. And my middle daughter falls into that generation. Mm-hmm. And she has high expectations. She's very creative. And she's frustrated with her peers that you know, what are they doing? You know, so I think there is a gap there, and I don't know how to fix it.
I don't know that. I think it's got to work its way out. We got to breed it out. I mean, just you said that you see hope in some early 20s.
It's already happened.
Well, that's my point. You said you started to see
run its course.
You're seeing things in the young 20s that's coming up.
Yeah.
So that tells me then that, because like I said, the pendulum swung the opposite way, knee jerk.
Yeah.
And now it's got to start working its way back. Because you know something that I learned how to do since I retired?
What's that?
I learned how to make a fire without matches.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm going to actually learn how to do really well. Right now I suck at it. But the thing is I want to do these little projects. It's a friction one, yeah. It's a little hole in the thing, and you put the candle in it. But the whole thing is the thing about it is what good is anything if everything shuts off if you can't make a fire? You know what I mean?
True.
I'm getting ready, and I talk about it every week. I ain't got a damn step closer to it, but I want to make a giant chicken coop in my backyard, a couple dozen chickens. And my vision is, on your way home, I'm going to have a shed. You open up the door, there's going to be some recyclable bags, which you've already gotten one and took home, and we're going to have some cartons provided by some people that I happen to know on the inside of the retail grocery company where they have the cartons that they bring, and then you're just going to be able to come by on your way home and get free eggs, all organic, for no reason. You know why? Because I can't eat 24 fucking chickens worth of eggs. But they're gonna make that much, you know. And
we went through that, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So we
had 17 chickens.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you? Shitload of chicken eggs.
A lot of eggs. Yeah, you can't give them away.
Can't get them away fast enough. Let me ask you a question. So
not enough to really go big in selling and.
I don't want to sell anything.
Yeah.
24 chickens is just a round number I put in my head. Based on your experience, how many? Because I'm all by myself. There's one lady that lives in the back of my house, and there's a grizzly bear that lives in the back of the yard.
You got, if you go to like McMurray's, I think it's McMurray's. Whatever, online, but you have to buy 15. They won't ship less than that.
Chickens.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking you is, in your experience, what would be a good number? Like, is 15 chickens a good number to start with? As far as having
people you want to feed.
Well, that's just it. You just said what struck to me.
What struck have them, I'll come by and get.
Well, you fucking ain't right. You're gonna come. Yeah, please do.
I don't need a whole dozen.
But you just said something that I didn't think about was you can't give them away fast enough. I'm like, oh shit. What if I can't give them away fast enough? I definitely don't want to,
I just let them free roam around the yard after a while, and then you had to go hunt, It's like fucking Easter every day.
That's real world problems.
You can go for days as those little bastards change their spot, and all of a sudden you'd find, here's a place and it's got 12 eggs in it.
Hey!
That's where you've been. As soon as you touch it, they're gone.
They find another spot.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So if you keep them caged, you should get 17 eggs a day.
So what do you think? Do you think do you think it'll just, because I have met, it's funny you say that because you just brought something into perspective. I interviewed a young couple yesterday, black vegan models.
I saw that.
Right, and I did a set for them. They reached out to me, asked, but I was more interested in meeting them, and I ended up, did what I had to do, and ended up with a relationship with them. They came out to promote something that they're doing, but the thing about it is when they had the show that I performed at, there was almost 100 young people. They weren't all black, but they were mostly black. It's politically incorrect to say it's a black modeling company, but out of 50 models, if 48 of them are black, forgive me, guys, it's unique
a modeling
to me.
Company.
Yeah. So they were all dressed really nice. And I actually made a comment about it. I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for dressing nice to an event, because a lot of times in that same block, you could go to a performance and everybody's dressed with flip-flops and tank tops on,
Right.
So everybody's dressed, and I see what you're saying, because I have met quite a few young 20s that they seem to be wanting to like it's coming back again in another circle, like it's maybe they'll start picking it up. Because like,
yeah. I mean, growing up, my sister was 8 years older than me, so in the mid '60s, I was around a lot of people that were going to Vietnam and coming back,
Right.
wounded, whatever, dead.
right,
Friends of hers that I knew and felt they were friends of mine just by association.
sure,
But maybe the 20-somethings are seeing their older siblings and their friends and whatever, for lack of a better description, they're floundering.
right. Floundering is a perfect fucking description.
And saying, wow, what the hell are they doing? But,
I heard something where it said that Steve Jobs wouldn't be Steve Jobs if it wasn't for bullying. And a lot, Microsoft, all those big stories.
sure.
All the people that use their smarts because they were ridiculed by those who use their strength. And then the next, and I jokingly always say that it's like we're trying to find this Star Trek-like utopian concept where nobody cusses and everybody has a humbleness about them. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and again, I have gotten too old to start giving a fuck about the future shit. And it's like the guy was saying, and it was so hilarious. He goes,
And you're younger than I am.
he goes, you never see him shit. He says you never see him like, hey, let me go hit the men's real quick. You never see him being like, hey, we're up here in a ship with a goddamn Wookiee. You don't think that motherfucker needs to take a shit, a Wookiee-sized shit every once in a while? You don't think he might pass gas if there's two dudes in a ship? He never makes a comment, damn, Wookiee! You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we need to dumb it down or make it funny. I'm just saying it lacks there. And I hate the fact that I was given this impression because now it's like, shit. Hey, we're on the ship up here for the next 24 months. You want to fuck? I mean, we're up here alone. I mean, you want to have an orgy? There's like 6 of us up here. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the future. That shit was what? Futured out of us? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, realistically, I feel like on paper, they want to give and I kind of think, remember when they stopped giving medals away? Where everyone got a participation medal.
Right.
I think they done shit that one right out of the bed. I think everybody's back to doing it the way it was because they saw, and I think that's part of that 20, whatever you said that.
You went from getting medals to getting, participation.
Well, you had to earn the medal in the olden days, and now everyone gets one.
There were replacements.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You showed up, so you get a medal. Bullshit.
Exactly. And the thing about it is so, and on paper you have this utopian.
That's when we started getting the little trophies and stuff from China.
Yeah.
Just got cheapened up.
Right. No shit. And there's a lot. I've heard so many crazy. And all I'm saying is this. Part of the whole regime about what I'm trying to do here is I'm interested in interesting people with interesting stories. But I'm also very interested in leaving something behind for my children's children's children in any way, shape, or form. I believe Joe Rogan, shout out Joe Rogan, I got this huge bromance on his ass. He's basically the reason I'm here and not there anymore. His thing is he's impacting so many people on a global scale right now that he is, to me, a modern day Gandhi. If everybody gets behind the idea of caring more, worrying less about, the politics and try to change things. And my biggest thing is, again, like I said, that list of things I was afraid of. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now that I'm at this point in my age, I've got to meet a bunch of these different people. And it turns out they're not really that scary. And it turns out a lot of times they're dealing with the same bullshit we are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they've got kids that are fucking off in college and they've got, you know what I mean? Sure, some things they get that are benefits, something, and I'm not talking about one particular, I'm talking about fill in the blank. Everybody has their cross to bear. Everybody has their row to hoe. It's so funny, my daughter thought that was some sort of a nautical term. This is the point I'm trying to make. My kid is in the top 1% of the top 1% academia in America, and she thought row to hoe was a nautical term. I said, are you kidding me? My oldest daughter's part of a bit. She calls me, tells me she wants to change her major. You know the story.
Yeah.
The same daughter who says, Dad, what do I go to first? 5 years or 60,000 miles before I get the oil change? So the whole joke is, it's like, you guys are brilliant. But there's some things that you don't have any time. Like, you know, if you had a little time under your belt, if you had a little wisdom behind you, you would know the ludicrousness of that last question.
Yeah. There's no teacher like time.
That's right. But we put the fast mouse click and now there's a new job, by the way, in Orlando posted where you can effectually work. Basically, you can work social media. That's what you do. You promote things for companies, and these little bastards know the shit out of some social media, so they're being hired. The jobs are like 11 a.m. to like 5, 6 in the afternoon because they found that that's the best time for these young people to be able to cut right. You know, they got to sleep in.
Sure.
Because they played video games all night.
Yeah, right. Video games all night, then they got to sleep in, and then they have to stop by and get their latte, whatever kind of crap they want in that.
Who'd have thought?
You know, and their bagel or their donut.
What he just said right there about the coffee, who'd have thought that the same kind of commercials that they used to have to get us to quit drinking and smoking because it was a waste of money, you can put yourself in college and you can buy a house, that now is a conversation about a coffee. Who in the fuck would have ever thought that coffee would be the thing that would make or break you not buying a house? Who'd have thought, Alve? You're old enough to remember when...
Jesus, you stop. There's $6-8.
I know. That's
you buy 3 a day, 5 days a week. That's a mortgage payment a month.
Can of Copenhagen cost you $4. Mm-hmm. With Florida tax on it, it costs you $7.
I was gonna say, I don't remember.
Because they got to have the nasty ad campaign to get everybody to quit. Mm-hmm. But yet you can spend $7 for a coffee, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's socially acceptable.
Listen to this. Have you ever seen the warning labels in Australia?
No.
Okay.
My daughter went.
You buy a pack of cigarettes, okay? It'll say Marlboro, but there's no logo, no light, no nothing. It's a black pack. It says Marlboro cigarettes, and the entire pack is a photo image of somebody whose whole face is rotten from whatever.
Or an open lung.
Right. Horrible. Graphic. Guess what? #1 industry in Australia because they don't give a fuck. So that's the whole point. The whole point is tax the shit out of it. We're still gonna buy it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's because you know what it is too. And this whole thing. You know what? This is the part where I'm gonna end up planting seeds of fucking problems in your head as an artist. Because here's the thing. I came to this conclusion where it's like I don't want. How dare you tell me what to do when it's not something like, you know, illegal, immoral, or illicit. You know, like for instance, you know, I'm on with the whole concept of my prescription medicine, right?
Right.
I was at a doctor's once a month because I needed this pain medicine because I had a bad back and I couldn't get surgery. My health insurance says I can't get surgery until I'm older because what if they fuck it up? This is literally the layman's term.
We want to keep you working.
Right.
You know?
So they said, we're going to regulate your pain.
Medicated, but working.
Right. We're going to regulate your pain. And I was on 4 Percocet 10s a day for 12 years. And I was not eligible for the surgery until I was like 55. So that means I was supposed to be on it for another, you know, I'm 42. So the whole trick about it is one of the major side effects is Alzheimer's. I mean, it's like huge. It's like worse than smoking weed out of an aluminum can for Alzheimer's. But they don't want you to smoke out of an aluminum can, but they'll sure as shit prescribe the... Dude, Percocet 10, 4 Percocet 10s a day can numb an elephant. And I'm on that shit. Working around heavy, you know, knives and shit. So the thing is the natural...
You got all 10 fingers.
Yeah, no, because I'm good. I work well when I'm fucked up. So
after 10 years, you get to be good at it.
It's just the way I like. But the thing is so I get, you know, so the social media, the YouTube, everything. So they find that there's this natural herb that replaces the pharmaceutical. No side effects, no nothing. So I tried it, bought it. It's perfect. Fast forward now, that was whatever the opening day was for Wonder Woman. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was what?
October?
Yeah,
Something like that. So October I stopped taking pain medicine. No, it was August because I was making plans to leave and I wanted to get off the health insurance. I got in case shit health insurance now. So like for the same price as what I was getting that Cadillac health insurance, I get that if something happens to me, they'll see me in a room and not in the back parking lot by the dumpster. So I got that insurance for the same price.
Yeah.
So the deal is I had to figure out a way because I was institutionalized. I was basically become a slave to the system because I had to have health insurance, and you can't afford it unless you belong to a big company.
So you had to have the health insurance to pay for the doctor to prescribe it. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I know again, I jokingly say I'm gaining weight, but I'm losing weight. I yo-yo like crazy, but I was 100 pounds heavier once. And when I was 100 pounds heavier, no problem. The doctor gave me 420 milligrams of Cinepills. That's all you need, Alex. 420 milligrams of Cinepills. So I'm taking 420 milligrams of Cinepills. The first time I took it, and that blood pressure relieved off my body, I go, shit, I didn't even know that's what feeling good felt like. I thought that constant thumping in your head of your heartbeat that means you're energized, you're on point, right. You know? So, not, hey Alex, get your fat ass on an elliptical and lose weight. No offense. I mean, it's not fat shaming because that was my life. But instead, here, let me just give you more medicine.
Right.
So now we fast forward. So from whatever, August till now, and I'm more or less basically, I don't hardly take kratom anymore. Kratom was the herbal replacement. I don't hardly take kratom anymore. Okay? So then guess what happens? This huge fucking social media. Village's newspaper, Ocala Star Battle, big, all over TV. Kratom, killing people left and right. Nobody's dying on kratom, bro. It's a conspiracy, and it's weird because I'm not a conspiracy guy. But it's ironic because I am not the only person who walked away from a very lucrative doctor's career who I was helping him pay his bills. And he was treating me like a prisoner. Like talking down to me. Yeah. So then I leave and I'm now on kratom and it's totally legal. It's herb. It's been around 2,000 years.
Right.
So now there's this huge campaign. Now everybody over here thinks it's the Antichrist. Now they're going to have this big vote. And all of it was brought on by pharma, big pharma. Now, if you've never taken kratom, you have no reason to worry about kratom. You have no dog in the fight. You see the news, it says it's killing children, you believe it, then you're going to vote against it. Here's the problem though, there are people all over the internet that are on YouTube that because what happened was Big Pharma did this push in the lobby, in their lobbyists,
sure.
And all of a sudden, kratom went from being been around 2,000 years to all of a sudden being the same illegal substance as heroin. And what ended up happening was the social media saved the day because from all over the country, millions and millions and millions of people shot information to the DEA. And it wasn't like, why did you take this off the shelf? These some bitches are on the camera going, how could you do this? I can't do this anymore. I don't want to come back I don't want to be on Oxycontin. I don't want to be on oxycodone. I don't want to be on this stuff. And this was a natural, we weren't doing nothing to you. That's what, it was heartbreaking. Meanwhile, I'm like, it hurts a little bit, but but there are people that really have these issues, And the problem is the sad fact that I'm not going to get this. This is like, everybody's like, oh, you're going to use this as a platform to go against pharma? Nope. I am not. I will say though, I'm not in, I got medical marijuana. I win. Okay, I won't say a peep if we can keep that. So the thing is the reality is it's just sad because it's profit driven. It's not for the reasons of health. And
there's no love. No love.
And the only thing that at my age, what I'm trying to explain to these dreamers, my children included, your children included, is yes, there's opportunities. It's not this beautiful dream though. What it is we live in the country that will allow us to have the most rope before we hang ourselves. You just need to stay low key, I'm not here to fucking change the world like I'm gonna be the one guy who goes against pharma. No, but I will say it's sad at my age where I say the scales are being peeled off my eyes. Mm-hmm. It's sad the control that people need to have for the name of profit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so as an artist, I can imagine, I guess that's the artist in me. The you know that joke with the Indian with the tear that comes down, remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
And then he wasn't even an Indian. But you know the thing about it is they got rid of Christopher Columbus Day.
Yeah.
I mean, what a strange problem to have. And I don't even remember it being that bad for that long. Like, I think it was a really quick outrage. Like, they got outraged real fast. They're like, fuck it, let's fix it.
It's kind of a flash.
But, you know, and I'm not saying that it's not the worst or the best idea in the world. I don't really, you know, it's kind of like, well, I've always known it as Christopher Columbus Day. I don't understand. Well, you know, he did horrible things. Well, you know, it depends on who wrote the history. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the reality of those, and this is actually kind of a bit that I'm working on, another premise is, whoever the PR people are, they ended up switching it to Indigenous People Day. And I'm like, that doesn't even sound right. It sounds like you're having like you're vomiting out of your mouth.
Something's wrong, yeah.
I mean, you got to find some kind of like the Townies Day or something, like make it fun.
Well, you know, when we were younger and growing up, I'm sure you heard the saying too. You know, parents would tell you, well, clean your plate, eat all your food. You know, this, that, and that. People are starving in other countries.
Right.
You know, and then all of a sudden, here comes back the greatest comeback. Name one. Well, you know, Christopher Columbus did all these horrible things. Did you see it?
Right.
Did you witness it?
And again, the sad peeling of the lenses.
And I'm sorry, society was a little different back then than it is today.
Yeah,
you can't take something from the 1500s and apply today's standards to it.
Absolutely. And the thing is like I can see.
It'd be like, you know, Game of Thrones. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're gonna have to have those dragons permitted.
Right.
And you have to have a veterinary license to have the dragon.
Right,
I mean, that's what my sister and I had monkeys when we were growing up.
Get the fuck out of here.
And
what kind of monkeys?
Woolly monkeys. We had one.
Okay, that doesn't make any clear. Is a little monkey or a big
woolly
monkey?
About that tall. You know, just kind of squat.
It's funny how people say that shit so nonchalantly. Yeah, my parents went to Harvard. Yeah, we used to have monkeys. I'm sorry, I didn't have any monkeys growing up. So tell me about these monkeys.
Barry Winslow. I don't know if you remember the band, the Snoopy. Sang the Snoopy song.
Come on. That's Snoopy?
Yeah, with the air battle and all.
Oh, that one. Okay.
So Barry Winslow was a member of the band, and he had the first monkey. He gave it to us. You know, he was going on to bigger and better things, and he gave it to my sister.
You got a gorilla, chimpanzee?
Yeah. No, I mean, as far as his music career. And so that kind of started the ball rolling, and we had Mandy was her name until she passed away, and then we wanted another one, so we got a spider monkey. Found us somebody that wanted to get rid of a spider monkey. Mean little son of a bitch.
I hate spider monkeys.
And
they throw.
So like what?
So my sister gave that to the principal of the Lake Weir High School. Or he was a teacher at Lake Weir High School at the time.
Gave him a monkey.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Perfect match.
Years ago, some family members and I raised monkeys for.
You've always
handicapped people.
You've had weird ass pets.
But they were all females. When they went into their first heat, they would bring them to me. They don't want to be around another female. They want a male. Okay? But if you touch me, the bitch would bite me. Because I'm not supposed to let you touch me.
Isn't that something? So, my dad had parrots, like tropical parrots. He actually went to South America and get big ass, and he had the beak that if he grabbed that wood, he would go and just cut right through it, and then he'd put his mouth in the beak and cycle. He was really crazy about birds. So you have monkeys. That shit creeps me out, man. I don't like that shit because, like, you know, that little bastard. I don't know.
Oh, there's nothing better than having one sit on your shoulder and they start going through your hair.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a massage, I'll tell you.
We were bug free.
Yeah. But they sit there go.
So, Happily married. You've been married a long time. Let's talk about your personal life and not get too much into it. If you have like some creepy like squirrel heads and jars that I don't need to know about.
No, I don't have any of that. 34 years.
34 years. Wow, man, that's a long time.
3 children.
3 children. And AJ, the one
oldest one is 36 and the youngest one's 25.
That's AJ.
25.
Yeah. I like AJ. He was a good kid.
Fixing soon to be a certified welder. So.
What do you say? What do you think? Like 20 years from now, he'll be building these big things right behind you?
I'll design them and
Hell yeah.
he can construct them.
Yeah, that and bridges. There's a lot of money in bridges.
Pipeline, a lot of money in welding, period.
So in the business, and you're a meat manager, and we're going to start wrapping it up after here before too long. I just had some questions for you. In the, do you have, again, this is not about anything negative, but do you have an opinion about, local cattle versus like going, like, I mean, if you had a ranch, would you have your own cattle that you butchered, or would you go to the grocery store and buy it?
Yeah.
Is that a direction we don't need to go? Because I'm curious, from a meat manager over the years,
just from my do-it-myself survival attitude, yeah, I would raise my own animals. We had 17 chickens.
Right.
If my wife would have let me, we'd have had hogs, and I still want to get rabbits. I mean, I like rabbits. A good protein, nice meat to cook with.
You know, something we're getting ready. Well, I'm getting ready to try. I want to do it and vlog it so everyone tries it with me who knows me. Mm-hmm. Is chocolate protein powder. Me and my protein powder. It's cricket protein.
Yeah.
Because what it is
some stuff with that. Now, see, Emily, my youngest daughter, she full sail experience. We went through that journey, graduated, went to New York City.
Oh, she went to Full Sail?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Don't even get me started. Oh, you fucking Full Sailors.
And then all of a sudden announced, you know what? I want to be a pastry chef.
I remember that.
To Culinary Institute of America in Poughkeepsie, which she did on her dime. Bless you, Emily. And now she is furthering her studies and getting her degree in nutrition, and she is very, very interested in holistic medicine.
So am I.
Living.
Very much so. Yeah.
Herbal cures and everything. So
yeah, I'm gonna have. It's a great story. We'll be talking about her more. Her name's Shauna. I might be mispronouncing it because this is an odd spelling, but she was a yoga instructor. My whole intention was to be on yoga by now, and I met this one person online who's aggressive, who wanted to come on the show to promote, blah, 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 and we were going to do some yoga, and I was going to then stay with her and do the instruction with her, and her son was in a car accident, so we're just waiting. He's now home. I mean, this was back in August, and he just got home. So, I mean, there's some stuff going together with that. I'm starting to see like it's coming back together. So she'll be coming back. But
it's like Angie's story, right? You know, she was in a car accident.
That's right. You were watching. Look at this. He's watching our show for real. So, listen, I question.
I'm a fan.
I question because like my sister was like, "Oh yeah, I saw the show. It was really good." Knowing that at the end of that certain particular episode, I threw her so far under the bus in a joke that had she really heard it, she'd have been busting my goddamn ass. So that's why I'm like, Krista, I love you, but you know what? So the thing is yeah, and the thing is too, like I have seen, there's just a lot of. I'm not saying I'm against modern medicine. I'm just against the idea of. I feel like we are becoming like the Matrix, where we're just human batteries. And the protein that we were talking about when I started researching the protein powder, the whole thing is like a cow is your largest source of animal protein, and if you break it down based on whatever that schematics is, it's really actually only 5 to 15% protein because of all the rest of it. Yeah. Because of the amount of liquid that's in an animal. Right. But as a cricket is 80% by volume. So when she
almost went to work with a company, I think it was in Texas, that was doing a lot of stuff with cricket protein.
How funny is that? What would for that ends up being a small
It's just
world?
odd that you bring that.
Isn't that crazy? Well, this is the shit that I've been on now. Have you tried flotation? Sensory deprivation?
No.
Oh, I got a guy, man. This is perfect for you as an artist because that's what it is. It's a way of becoming. It's a style. Fucking Joe Rogan reinvented the entire industry because he talked about it on the podcast. So. Back there was a time, I don't know if you remember my harebrained schemes, I almost bought a gym.
Right.
And during that time, yeah, exactly. And during that time, I was thinking.
That's when you started the podcast. You know, talk about the workout reel.
Right.
Like, damn, this so bitch is getting bumped up.
Oh my goodness. But anyway.
Then I put two and two together. Comedy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not weights.
Exactly. But the thing about it is I saw one online used, one of these machines, and I mean, basically it comes two different ways, but the old school one looks like basically a stand-up vending machine turned sideways. You climb into it from the foot end of it, you lay down in it, and it's filled with 800 pounds of Epsom salt with a filtration machine that runs it into this basically it's a pool, the shape of you lay in it, and you float. And the water is 98 degrees. So what happens is you get closed into this thing and you basically meditate. And a couple things happen. For one, the Epsom salt is awesome for pulling out any impurities and stuff like that. For two, the human body...
Makes your skin nice.
Right, exactly, nice and soft. And the human body, even when you're at your most relaxed, like right now we're having a conversation, you're calm, your brain is still being told your back is against the seat, your ass is on the chair, your knee is on, cross. It's getting this whether you know it or not, and it's always some sort of an obstacle. Your brain's always having to deal with something. So when you get into this perfectly dark, perfectly temperature place, you basically give your mind the first time since utero the ability to just think. So I go to this fucking place over by UCF. That's the closest one I could find. And the average hour, like if you get an hour done anywhere, it's like $50 an hour. So I was looking to bring it, put it in the gym, because there's also great benefits. It allows your muscles to stretch and relax, which it doesn't even get to do that because it's always tough. There's a bunch of different things. So I get there and I'm sitting down. The owner wasn't there yet. Now this thing is a sensory deprivation / yoga studio. And I look like this. And I'm sitting in this fucking room, and it's like incense burning in this big bang, 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 in the overhead. And these little giddy girls are running around, these little college kids from UCF, because it's over in Castleberry.
Sure.
Shout out, Total Zen. You're coming to get some free shit after you get this plug. But the thing is, I get over there, and the owner finally pops in, and he looks at me, sees me, he looks down at the book, and I'm just kind of hanging out to the side here, and comes over, and he goes, "You're my 6 o'clock." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You ever done this before?" I go, "No." You ordered 2 hours. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What's your story? You don't look right." That's what he told me. And I looked at him, I said, "Well," and then I told him the story. I said, "Look, I'm 2.5 hours or 2 hours away," which is really about an hour and a half away. I said, "I'm not here to conflict in your business. I'm interested in buying one." And he goes, "Well, how'd you hear about it?" And I said, "Well, I drive Uber, and at night I'd listen to old Joe Rogan podcasts, and he always talks about it." And this guy started laughing. And I go, "What's so funny?" He says, "Same podcast 5 years ago, the reason why you're here right now. I own the jiu-jitsu studio next door." And that's when I started seeing the power. But the thing is Alve, you go in this thing and you have a project you want to work out in your head, you strategize something, that's what it's good for. Because you don't fall asleep. I mean, you could fall asleep, but even at $25 an hour, which is a good price, but I ain't sleeping for $25 an hour. I ain't paying nobody $25 an hour to sleep. So I sat down, and I kid you not, and I'm not even joking, there's nothing magical about it, but just I'm in a pitch black room with pitch black, and my eyes are closed, and I'm seeing swirls of colors passing in front of me. I'm hearing conversations in my head. It's basically like the closest thing you'll get to a true out-of-body experience where your mind can just be free to think. So I worked out a lot of my hits and misses with this whole crazy thing that I'm trying. Dude, I'm opening up 5 different businesses at the same time in hopes that 5 little incomes can replace one. So at 42 years old, I can try to, do stuff I want to do. You know what I mean? So, listen, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I appreciate you coming out. I hope that you were able to convey the information you wanted to convey with your art. I'm getting better at interviewing, but I'm going to start doing I'm going to start doing some studying on how to really get into
You are.
I'm trying.
I've seen some improvement.
Hey, listen to this guy. So before we start the message to the universe, is there anything, is there an agenda in your mind, something that you want to say, not the message to your future and your past and your present, but is there something that, you'd like to hook up with and talk about before we get into that last part? Anything on your mind that, some people one guy came and he had a whole agenda. He said, I just wanted to talk about nutrition and the inability, because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, so that was his big platform. And it had nothing to do with jiu-jitsu, So I'm just curious before we get into this, and then we're definitely going to have you back around when you're going to promote something or whatever, but
to bring some stuff and get it out there.
Well,
if you look at the contrast in the two pieces, yes, this represents the last 5 years body of work. This represents since 1992 my sculptural hero, if you will, has always been Mark DeSuvero, and he did large 60-foot tall steel pieces, some moving, some animated and all. And several months ago, and then with my brother-in-law passing and me coming up with this, it all kind of gelled together that I've always had a burning desire to do what Mark did, but then take it to the next level.
Sure.
I mean, he's in his 80s now, so that's a first attempt, and that's the first of many.
It's breathtaking
to come.
I love it.
I envision having that completed by the end of this year. And unless something drastically influences my plan, then that will be placed on the property there on the lake.
Oh.
So.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited about that. In fact, when that time comes, when the unveiling happens, I hope you we can do a soft opening that you can do with your family. It's all important. Right. And then we'll have an actual.
Yeah.
We'll get something going. That'd be super awesome, where you could see it from the lake.
Right.
Lovely. Very nice. Absolutely beautiful.
Actually, I have three pieces planned for the lake. May not all happen this year, but
sure. I mean, poco a poco, says the Cuban, little by little. So, we're going to get to that last part, which is the message to the universe. I just want to thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing your art with me. I look forward to seeing what we can do with this. I'm actually, I was talking about it before the show, I'm actually thinking about putting together some sort of a strange underground internet show where people come and do the whole shebang. The show, if I can provide them with a stage, do the stage, the show, the social media, meet Anzia, get all this stuff running, put them through this gambit, and then check back with them and see, because the initial inspiration started with the drone specialist, because his ass going to South America. Goddamn, you better enjoy yourself. And so the thing is what if that ends up becoming something where I have to pick and choose, and I got a waiting list of people who want to do the same thing, and then it becomes something that we grow organically, what I mean? And then the other thing that I'm trying to do is...
See, now you don't think of it that way, but it's just like me seeing that log.
Right. No, I totally...
Even if I wanted to change it, I couldn't change it. I had to just follow it. But it led me.
No shit. Listen, the three of us,
go with it.
My two partners and I, we sit around in a cup of coffee and laugh all the time, because I'm just now ordering my business cards. I've already performed in front of 1,000 people, been all over Southeast. I'm doing big things, got big things in the works, and we laugh. We're like, well, shit, we were, like you said, we started with this, this is the idea, and it's just taken on its own direction, its own life of its own. I mean, it's just amazing. And the thing is and for better or for worse, that you guys are watching the experiment unfold. I walked away from a lucrative career. I walked away from stability. I walked away not because I'm something special. I'm scared shitless. Even though I've got my initial foundations covered, the payments come in and I get that squared away. But the reality is what else, what impact, at this point I'm more afraid of how big the impact's gonna be before I go. I don't wanna do anything, like I jokingly say I'm comfortable being debt free in a house at the bottom of the hill that my sister owns the top of.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? She's the other bit that I wrote was that she should have been the boy and I should have been the girl, because she's the oldest, she's the mountain empire, she's the Khaleesi with the 2 dragons, and I'm just some like debt-free middle, I'm like in my 40s, I'm like, yeah, fuck work and responsibility, bitches, I'm trying to make magic. So Alve, go ahead and let's wrap this up with your message to the universe. We've talked about it beforehand, so you know what you're getting into. And the thing is this is what I'm getting. All of my guests say, when I come back around, I got something for your ass on that message to the universe. Because after I saw it and I did it, and then I left, and I got to thinking about it, and I said, next time it's going to be more elaborate, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to get you set up with Anzia. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to put you through the gauntlet. See if we can't. I want to sell this to a foot doctor tomorrow, so we'll figure that out. And then go ahead.
Where it is.
Go ahead and say what you need to say your goodbyes, and tell the world what they need to know. What they need to know.
Well, as we discussed, with age and life come experiences, and with that comes wisdom. And at my age, even 5-10 years ago, I realized that, with all of the commercialism and all of the products this country is bombarded with, we need to live with artistic things. Not a lot of things, but everything we have, everything in my house, just about, is all one of a kind, or especially either things I've built or whatever. But I think the uniqueness, and that complements what our Creator has done with each and every one of us. We are so much the same, and yet so far different. So I would like to challenge future generations, even people of my own age, no matter where they are in their life, that, experience life, live life to its fullest, and embrace it. Embrace your uniqueness. Don't become conformed to our lifestyle as we know it today. That's it.
Well, let me tell you something. How beautifully spoken.
Well, thank you.
You got that cadence. I've always told you that. You got the beginning of
Southern Storyteller, yeah.
Down in Nottingham. No, the fucking Fox. What was he? Robin Hood, the Disney Robin Hood. Down in Nottingham. That first voice. That's the guy. Like I just want to sit there and be like, tell me a story, Alve.
Sit around the fire.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, it was hell. When I was young, man, I always had this big aspiration. I used to gather the family around and tell them the Christmas story out of the Bible. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point where it was like, fuck all y'all. I don't want to try to do this anymore. Y'all are like, you take all the life out of everything. You know what I'm saying? But I tell you what, boy, I sure appreciate the cadence in your voice. It's just buttery. It's buttery. You heard Chris Stapleton?
Oh yeah,
that motherfucker can sing. God damn, boy. Listen. You know how long it took for something to finally hit me musically? It took a while. I've been frustrated with music as a whole. Yeah. You know how bad it is when you got to go 30 years ago for all genres of music, even hip hop. I got to go back to the 90s and 80s. Yeah. So and something else, and we'll wrap it up. Is one of the things that I find as a sense of pride for what I do with stand-up comedy, and for what I do consider truly as art, is when I went to the very first bar I went to is the first bar that hired me to do once a week, and we have had magic in that room every Thursday night. Crazy. So you never know what you end up with. A couple weeks back, we had an LA comic and a New York comic from New York City. Both of them were great comics, but they're here because they were visiting their parents and grandparents in the villages. Right. So the thing is I go to her and I said, this is what I'm interested in. And she says, listen, I'm very interested in it. She goes, you know why? I go, why? She goes, if you wanted to come up and play music, like an acoustic guitar, she has to pay a permit so that you could perform live somebody else's music.
Yeah.
Mustang Sally, all that shit you would think would be a staple in any bar. She says that permit costs more than the property taxes on her house and her business and her rental combined. So the idea is what I get to do as a comedian and what we get to do as comics is the last of the true free art, because you can't replicate what we do. Nobody can retell. I mean, you can retell our jokes,
right?
And that's a problem that comics deal with. Not one that I deal with. Everybody's like, whatever you do, Alex, don't put my jokes online, because we record everything for them. And I go, I'm not interested in telling you jokes, or I'm not interested in putting all your material out. And what do? I put everything the fuck I do out. Give it to me, free. And you know what's so funny? I'm catching gigs left and right. It's just weird. It's just strange to me that, but I honor their wishes. That I respect their wishes as artists, you know. But the thing about it is, it's a beautiful thing to be able to talk to an artist who, it might not be the thing that get us. We're not rolling in money now, but this is something that was free, that you made, that nobody can take that from you. It's the same thing with my comedy. It's a free art. It's something that as an artist I get to do, and nobody can tax me. Nobody can take it away from me, because my words are my art, and this is your art. This foot, if you were hired to do the foot, you would have been doing the foot for somebody, but you made this foot. It was what was in that log. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the story behind it, and they can't take that from you. And that
It started years before I ever saw it.
No doubt.
You know,
beautifully said.
which is one of the things I like working with wood. You know, gives it a second life.
Yeah. My father does those primitive statues.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as his health is diminishing, it's difficult, even as a young man, to move around something that requires a forklift. So now I went, and I'll show you after the show's over, I went and I found this thing on Facebook that I brought to him. Basically, it's exactly what he does with concrete, only it's with, what the hell is that? It's like a paper mache or drywall mud. And they take with a spoon, and they have all the same tools that he uses for the big stuff, but it's just on drywall. And that you can even buy the forms, like the general shape of a bear, and it's like it ends up being a bear in a river, and it's all three-dimensional.
Right.
Same kind of principle. And it's funny because I brought it to him, and I showed it to him, and he's looking at it, he goes, wow, that's really nice. It's really simple, similar to what I do. And I'm trying to, and every time I'm showing him, he's like, do you think we could do a channel like this for mine? And I go, Dad, you're getting to where you can't lift that stuff up anymore. He's like, hey, yeah. And then by the time, the third time he said it, I said, Dad, you're not allowed to say concrete around me anymore for the rest of this conversation. You're not listening to me, man. So the whole thing about it, though, is, like I said, but that's something that my dad, it's his art, and it's inside of him, you know what I mean? So I respect the shit out of artists. This is, like I said, you know, I just feel like there's so much to this foot, but on top of that, it's even just the walk, the lonely walk of an artist, man. I mean, I dig it. I dig it. And like I said, I know you're out there beating on metal and fucking working on wood, and nobody else is out there with you, you know what I mean? So at the very least, I want to shed some light on that and give props for the artists who still want to get out there. But with that being said, we need to get you rich, because you're talented. There's some stupid shit going on in the world. They just sold a painting for $100 million, and I looked at it.
Yeah, and the artist didn't, well, not that one.
He ain't shit.
Yeah.
And then the Eddie Chu, do you know that guy? He does these really graphic, really, aggressive, to say the least. Huang, maybe, no, I think it's Eddie Cho. But anyways, long story short, art is definitely something that certain people, like that shit that my daughter sent me that I'm supposed to make pretty, that's some ugly fucking shit. I don't know who the hell painted it, but that's some dumb shit. The fact that she even got that off the internet means it has to be famous enough to be on the internet. So I look at the foot, and I'm like, damn, that's a beautiful foot. I see it's a foot, I get it. this fucking painting with the lady melting, and I'm supposed to make it pretty. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking put a whole nother picture on there. They're like, what do you mean? That's what I had to do to make it pretty. All right, world, thank you very much. Universe, thank you so much for hanging in with us. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Like, subscribe. God, I gotta learn how to do all this stuff. All the social media platforms. By the time this episode out, we'll definitely be on point with everything. YouTube, subscribe, like, all that good shit. Everything will be linked when this episode comes up. If you're looking for a foot, and you're looking for any kind of thing that he can do anything with anything, bring it to him. The man's a genius. Thank you so much, Mr. Alve. Thank you for coming out. We out. Love, peace, chicken grease. Thank you. We out here.